7:02. So we'll call the meeting to order at 7:02. And
Works.
Laura, you got it this time? Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank
Let me just start the meeting. First of all, let me tell you, I hope I run this meeting better than the last one. It was a mess, the last one. So, and I'm ticked that we still have to do this, but
I won't make
but
any
this-
jokes about the last one.
It was awful. But I'll try to be better.
You look fabulous now.
So I guess on a more serious note, because Jackie's with us, I just like to, as a board, extend our condolences to Jackie for the loss of her dad. We were very sad to hear about that, and I know it was sudden. So I'm very sorry for that, and I'm sure we all send our condolences.
Thank you. I
Dear
appreciate
Jackie,
it.
I'm sorry.
Thanks.
So at any rate, the first order of business is I gotta bring up the agenda on the other thing, so hold on. Okay. All right, so we have to do acceptance of the secretary's report. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the secretary's report.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Susan,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
and Jeff.
Yes.
And I'm an aye, so we're good. You got the, anybody hear that?
Paul, you might want to, yeah, there you go. Thank you.
So do we have staff reports? Motion to accept the staff reports.
I just ask what, I'm sorry, I'm double tasking here as I'm taking notes. On the secretary's report, Adam, were you at the last meeting?
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh, were you?
yes.
You're not listed as being on there, so I don't know if we have to update that.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah, we would.
We can make the change, just,
Okay.
Thanks, Laura. I didn't even notice that.
No, I seemed to thought that you weren't there, but yeah, you would know.
He definitely was there.
Okay, I'll add that.
I guess, Catherine, maybe you could just update us on the opening, you know, the new grand opening, and how that's gone and what we're dealing with right now, considering that's part of the staff reports.
Yeah, I would say I feel like we're back to normal with the exception of a couple of pieces of plexiglass. It's not crazy busy, but there's lots of people coming in and it seems to be increasing every day. I feel 100% normal. I mentioned this, Scott was in yesterday to sign, and I mentioned it to him that I'm hearing from other libraries that they're in a little bit of turmoil, that they don't know what to do, and they're just not sure about things. I feel like that's all behind us. We're sort of doing everything just as we did it before, and it's great. So I don't know, Jackie, have you heard from any? I haven't heard from any of the staff. Have you, that there any?
No, I would say the only blip was figuring out how are we going to do programming this summer, and some of the meeting room stuff. People wanting to use it, and we're still kind of using those for other things right now. But other than that, it's all been good.
Are we still providing curb service if somebody's requesting it?
There was no demand.
No, no demand.
Great, interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is interesting.
So everybody that so we can assume anybody that wants to use the library is actually coming into the library, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay, great.
Good.
Good to hear. Anybody else got any questions regarding this?
I know
Yeah, I
that,
have Go ahead, Paul.
I know that Catherine said, I know I'm new, but I looked at the numbers on the staff reports. Are those numbers for circulation pretty much like back up to pre-pandemic levels, or kind of average off the cuff percentage of where we're at on that?
They're not up to pre-pandemic levels. And you really, when you see them, this is another thing I said to Scott yesterday. When you see them for a single month, it doesn't mean a lot. And we'll be sending, and even seeing it from 1 month to another doesn't give you a lot. You need at least 6 months to look at, and maybe a prior year. And we keep all that information. So at some 6-month period, we'll put that in a whole packet for you to see it.
This wouldn't have covered opening anyway. This was only through May, so.
That's true. This doesn't even cover opening. This is before we opened,
What was our official date?
the 29th, May 29th.
Is it possible to look at the circulation numbers, or is there value in looking at them like year over year? Like
Yes,
Mhm.
April 2020, to me, that makes more sense than even last
Yes.
month's.
Yeah.
Okay, that would
Yep.
be
and that's how we keep them. We keep them both by fiscal year and by calendar year. Because sometimes you want to look at, what happened last January. Everything's by season in New England, so there's different ways of looking at it.
And we tend to drop off a little bit in the summer anyways, I think for general circulation, don't we, if I recollect?
No, those are our highest months.
Those
July
are
and
our
August are our
highest
highest months.
But May is one of our lowest months.
Mhm.
Okay.
May traditionally is very quiet.
Is it,
So-
Jackie, I would think circulation could be up, but is foot traffic still one of the highest? Is the summer higher in foot traffic?
Yes,
Okay,
for the same reason, mostly because it's all the children's programming that happens.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
typically what drives it.
yeah, that adds it up, right? I get it. And the summer reading program will go into those numbers. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I guess the big thing I was looking at, and Catherine, I'll kind of get with you in the next couple of days to see if I can see some of those things. But I have a feeling the town budget meeting's coming up with the new fiscal year starting 1 July. Is that
The-
correct?
Yes, and that's already been funded.
Oh, okay.
So for July 1st through next June, that's already been funded. And by September or October, we'll start to talk about funding for the next year. So it starts next July.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Catherine, there's a line in here about your goal is to complete expenditures without needing to encumber. What, I thought encumbrance was just a natural part of the process. Can you explain what that means?
It's a very natural part of the process, but Stephanie has never done it before. And the year is very, very different. I would not hesitate to encumber if I thought I was going to lose money that we needed to expend. So I would never do that. But I am not, I'm not going to make life more difficult by finding things to purchase with extra money that we don't vitally need, or make expenditures that naturally happen in the next fiscal year. So I guess I'm saying I would encumber if I should encumber, but my goal is to try not to expend everything down before the end of the fiscal year so that Stephanie doesn't have to when you encumber something, it drags it on into September. And we're gonna change from QuickBooks on the desktop to QuickBooks Online. So she's already got a lot of things, new things to learn. So my goal is to not have her encumber anything.
Okay. All right, thanks.
I also know you mentioned the new system. We're fully operational except for the, what'd you say, local stuff, the local history stuff? Does that sound right?
What are we talking about?
The, what's it?
The RFID?
Yeah, RFID. It's fully operational, right?
Yes. Oh, that was what Jeff said. The stuff in the red room hasn't been tagged.
Right.
It's also not high risk, but it is, everything in the building is of risk at some point, but at some level. But so he is going to tag that probably this summer.
Yeah, but the thing is that I'm just trying to remember the timing. You didn't really have much time with the system and have normal activity, right? We were kind of, so
No,
this
we
is
had
really the
none.
beginning.
Yeah, we had
This is really the
none.
beginning
We
of
had none.
using it the way it was intended, right?
Right.
Okay, so it's still, you probably, I assume we're still flushing things out. Is that true or no?
The staff's been using it for over a year and a half now.
Right,
It's really just the public. And the only change for them is the security gates, which they have no control over, and self-check, which
okay,
has been being used and seems to be functional.
yeah,
I like this. I like the self-check a lot. It's
yeah, people are getting more used to using it, I'm sure. It's,
yeah.
it's kind of like the same thing at like the Home Depot or the supermarket. you
Right.
know. I used to always go to a cashier, now I always go through, self-check. It's a lot faster and easier.
Well, when I tried it, I think it is similar to the supermarket. The first time I used it, I had a couple of questions as I was using it. And then once the librarian answered those for me, it was self-evident. I would not
Mhm.
ever have a problem with it again. So my take was, I thought that you're going to have to help people early on. The first time, people are going to need help. But after that, it's really pretty obvious. So I liked it a lot, and I'm not really a self-check person, but I liked this a lot.
Okay. Anything else on the staff reports? Okay. I don't think anybody made a motion to accept the staff reports. Would somebody do that?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. So if you get no other discussion, we'll do a vote on it.
I saw that Paul made the motion. Who seconded that?
I seconded it.
I think it's Scott.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Okay, we'll have to vote on it then. Susan,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
and I'm a go. Yeah, okay. See, this is another thing that will improve when we meet in person. You don't have to do this. Okay, next on the agenda is, I'm sorry, I forget where it was. Do we have any no public participation, right?
Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, I don't see anybody
Mm-mm.
on the screen at anywhere else, okay? And I don't think I saw any correspondence, Catherine, there wasn't
No,
any, right?
no correspondence this month.
Okay, and, all right, so committee reports, I'm assuming there's nothing to talk about in the budget right now, unless you want us to update us on the end of the year stuff, Catherine.
it's just gonna be the end of the year. We'll be giving back $41,000 from personal services. And we'll probably give close to 20,000 back in, maybe a little less than that, in contractual services, and that's all due to utilities.
Okay,
And if I needed something out of that, I would purchase it. I was able to do the projector right through the operating
Right.
budget. So everything that we've needed, I've been able to do through the operating budget.
you were able to do the full purchase, right?
Yes,
For everything for that system, right?
yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah.
All right.
What's the delivery date?
Pardon me?
When do we get it? Are
We
you-
have it.
Okay, that's a
we-
good answer.
Yeah, we actually thought that we might be able to have this meeting using it. But because it's a public meeting, I didn't want to make a mistake. So I think, maybe we can all try it out another time. But I would hate to have this meeting not be legit because we had a problem with that. We hadn't been able to try it yet. But it does look like it's going to give a nice image and it's going to be good.
Okay, it's good to hear. So you have,
I
you
had
have
one
more-
question
Yes.
Okay,
for Catherine. Was there anything that you saw before you turned in money that you think you need with the new system? Did anything come up that you might want to purchase before the end of the FY?
No, we won't need anything else. But if any of you think of something that you think is a need, if you've been in the building and you think it's a need, let me know. But the whole staff knows to look for things that are worn out and to, all of that. We've really been going through everything. So,
Outstanding.
yeah,
I just wanted to follow up because I know it was coming up quick.
right.
okay. All right, on to buildings and grounds. I don't really have anything to report other than regarding the sign because I'm still collecting some specs and I'm having a little difficulty reconciling the specs with what's been told to me. So I want to make sure I got it right. And I did have another discussion with, for people who don't know, but Jim McBain. And Jim is the, I think he's chair of the Board of Appeals. Is that right? Does anybody know? He's on the Board of Appeals. I don't know if he's.
think
I
chair.
thought knew he was chair of the sign committee.
He is on the sign committee too. And I guess there's a, they're working on an overlay, some overlay for the downtown. And he's been working on that. But at any rate, I had a discussion with him about the sign. And, nothing really new other than apparently there's been some other activity in town that is looking to do this, something similar. There may be some other owners that want to do something that might have some, dynamic sign that can be changed. And maybe similar to the kiosks, I'm not sure, but he was uncertain about it himself. But right now I'm still working on it, so I
We're
know
not getting
someone's-
flashing letters and multicolors.
well, that's what we have to avoid. But
It just says open in big bright letters.
yeah, we're open. Yeah, that's it. We're open. But no, that's about all I have to report on that. How about the Friends? Did anybody go to the Friends last month? I forget who was supposed to go.
I was there. I think I wasn't the only one there too. I think
I was there, wasn't I?
yeah, Scott and Paul were there also, and Catherine. But I think it was my duty to report back on that. So I'll just mention that in most of the conversations, this was the meeting that was held right before the book sale. So most of the discussion was focused on preparations for the book sale. So I won't get into the weeds about that because the book sale has happened. But my takeaway from that is that there were a lot of folks working really, really hard to make the book sale come together. And I know several of you on here were at the book sale or pre-book sale thing. So you saw just what a massive undertaking that was. So I just really commend them all for making that all happen. And even though they've been working on it for a while, kind of once they got the green light from the town to proceed with having it, really worked really quickly to make that all happen. I thought that was just a tremendous undertaking. And I think overall, there was steady traffic, and I think they had a really good experience, especially having done it the first time at the Hurd School. So I think that update will probably be at their next meeting. I think the other thing I'll say too is that it was at their June meeting, they were having their elections. I'm just reading over my notes. So 2 longtime trustees oh, sorry, those are my notes to them. They had their elections, and let's see, they elected in their new treasurer, Heath LaGraves, a new assistant treasurer, Melissa Fulkerson, and a new director, Kyle Donahue. So yeah, and then the other note from them too is that their membership was up to 333, and they expected a bit more of a push as well during the membership collection at the book sale.
Laura, just
Yeah.
one other thing. Are you tracking that I guess they're gonna do something this Saturday at the farmer's market? Did you see that email?
Yeah.
I did see that email, and they're giving away
Yeah.
books. We got extra books.
Oh, a lot of extra
A lot
books.
of extra
Yeah,
books.
maybe a few.
What's the definition of extra?
left over. Like maybe another sale,
Hundreds, thousands?
hundreds.
Somewhere between the two is.
Yeah. Yeah,
How do we know how the sale went?
it went well. I saw Helen yesterday and she said everyone who worked it is pleased. The final numbers aren't in, but it went well. It's comparable to what they've done before. So they're very pleased.
That's good.
And when they do the giveaway, they always get donations for at the giveaway. So those engender a lot of goodwill, and everyone has fun at them. So those are worth doing.
Any more discussion there about the memorandum of understanding that we kind of skipped away from?
Yeah, we did skip away from it, and in part we did because we were getting new people on, and I've had several other policy things that there's only so much time at every meeting to really discuss everything. So
I guess we keep skipping along.
yeah, and they're okay with it because they understand that they're in a good place right now. It's really to keep us in a good place, to have that memorandum going forward to keep us in a good place. So it's not an emergency, and we'll get back to it in the fall.
Okay.
I think the ball's on our court with
Yeah,
that.
that was my next question.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right.
Okay, anything on gift funds?
Who's on the gift fund committee?
I forget.
So it's me, it's Amy, and it's Sue, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight.
Yeah, I don't have an update material except for what Catherine just mentioned. I think it'll be something we're working on in August and September. But
I have a question on the gift and grant status report. There's a note about the Media Lab furnishings. What are we moving forward again with the Media Lab?
We are. We are going to get there. We've ordered equipment, and today we got 2 new chairs in, task chairs, so that you can roll around. They're really nice looking chairs and comfortable, so people can sit there. Alyssa Staples in Tech Services is now spearheading that, and the new person in Tech Services is helping her. And he's Ryan, his name is, and he's very tech savvy. And he's very interested in it. So although he's hired for a lot of purchasing things and like managing the incoming books, he will help her with technology as well. So he's really interested in that. So it gives us an extra body to help down
That's
there.
great.
Yeah, hopefully not too much longer. Like I would like to see it open in September.
That would be terrific.
Yeah, yeah, because it's been a long time. Yeah, Jackie and I were looking at all these things that drag on, and you just want to get them finished, you know?
I'm not sure, I'm quite sure what I know what the media furnishings is there?
Oh, so in the
Okay.
conference, yeah, in the conference room downstairs, we're gonna turn it into a digital media lab. And that's where you can do personal archiving, take old media and update it to digital media. And it will evolve to whatever we find people need. But the complication of it is that you have to pick good equipment and you have to learn how to use it. So you can't just fill it with stuff and open it. You have to actually be able to help people with it. So
That sounds like a rather intensive task to teach people how to use that.
it's not really. It's not
Or
really. It's
people
not,
just show up with some form of knowledge about it, because I would have no idea where to start on that.
yeah, it's not. I think a lot of things might take time because so you have a video that you're gonna transfer to digital or whatever, and that might take a lot of time, but it won't take a lot, I think, to teach people how to do it. I think the trickier part is to show people how they want to plan their project in advance. You don't want to just go in and use the equipment. You actually want to plan your project in advance to
Yeah.
make sure that it's going to be preserved indefinitely and you have a plan to update that preservation. So it's
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about that. That's gonna be a very new activity, so we might have to put together a policy thing on that.
Well, that was the only thing I was thinking about, Tim, on that too, is, given how long it would take to probably do some of these archiving stuffs, do you have a time limit? And is there enough stations for 2 or 3 people to be in there doing it? Or could someone plop themselves down and 9 a.m. on Saturday and 4:30 say, I'm almost done?
yeah, we're gonna have to plan all that. I think part of what is going to help with that is that some of the equipment, depending on the level of what you're doing, some of that equipment we can purchase for the Library of Things and you can take it home. So there are certain pieces of equipment that are relatively easy to use that maybe you don't want to buy it for, you don't want to own it, but you could borrow it and say, so I have a carousel of slides. And I don't know what to do with this carousel of slides. I'd like them to be digital photographs. And there's a relatively small item that will do that. And, I don't really want to buy it, but if I could borrow it for a couple of weeks, I could get all that done. And so that kind of equipment that's easy to use,
Okay, cool.
we could loan that. And that's a person who's not going to have to be in the lab.
Yeah.
The person who's in the lab is going to be doing something that's a little more complicated or maybe needs help.
Yeah, so when it comes down to that, you're gonna have to do that people have to reserve the room by
Oh,
appointment.
yes.
We'll have
yeah.
to keep the stuff locked and all that, so,
Oh, yeah.
you'll have to figure all that out. How big a block of time you want to give somebody and all that, so.
Right. But the
um,
fact that it's in the conference room, that's easy to lock.
Yeah.
It's easy to schedule. It's its own location. So it's a good location for it.
Okay,
Catherine,
Okay.
you mentioned the Library of Things. I know that was kind of stop-start with the pandemic as well. Is that back and running and getting used again, or?
Yeah. And we've added some things to it. So you can get binoculars, like adult and child binoculars, and a little map of birds or whatever. So we have things that kind of go together depending on what people want to do. We got binoculars that are specifically designed to look at stars. So if you don't want to actually do a telescope, you could just do sky binoculars. Yeah, there's a few things in there. So, and we're still building it, depending on the demand, what we see people like.
Okay. So I would assume there's nothing going on with legislative advocacy. It's kind of that time of the year where it's
Yeah, it's-
quiet.
It's quiet. It's pretty good right now.
We did okay with state aid, right?
That's all in for the year, yes.
Good, good. All right. And actually, didn't you mention, the only thing I thought, you mentioned last meeting, Catherine, that Noble got a nice bump in that, through their
Ye-
budgeting, right?
Yes, and this year they're up for that again. What's going through the legislature now is good for Noble as well. So
Good.
our assessment has not increased.
Good.
That's been really nice.
That's good news. They're
Yeah.
state's picking up the bound, the
Yeah.
slack. Okay, good to hear. The next, for personnel, we've got new business for library contract, so there's nothing else to talk about there. So want to just skip to that?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me, I'm assuming, I can assume that everybody's been able to see the contract that was ratified. If you haven't, just, I guess, while I'm bringing it up is what we want to do is we want to vote on this tonight. So I want to make sure everybody is comfortable, casting a vote tonight, because,
So,
and the second part of that is, there's no, in the agenda, we have Catherine put in, that we may potentially do executive session. I don't see any need for it unless somebody wants to talk about something that might be, that we may not want to talk about in open session. If nobody has that desire, then we can just forget the executive session portion of this and just.
My only
we can-
question, Tim,
I
would be,
had,
if
oh.
we discuss the contract, is that public knowledge, or is it public knowledge,
Well,
the actual document, even because we're referring to it?
well, since the librarians have ratified it, and the town has accepted it, on the town side, Steve Mayo has accepted the changes and done anything else. There's really nothing else there's no more negotiations, essentially.
No, but
so I had one question on that.
Tim, Steve did say that if anyone has any questions, we're going to just discuss what it is. You're supposed to go into executive session because it's not public yet.
That's true. It's not a public
So-
So
document.
it is better to go into executive session and stop recording. I think you stop recording, right? And then
Yeah, I would
Oh.
stop recording.
I don't think it will be a long executive session, but just in case anyone even wants to, whatever they
All
want to
right.
say, we went through enough. And it's good now. I don't want to jinx it.
Okay, so if that's fine, I don't mind doing it. I wasn't sure we had to. So I guess, my thing is I gotta remember how to do executive session. Hold on a second. Minimize me. Bear with me, folks. So I'm supposed to stop recording, I believe.
Do we need a motion or anything like that?
Yeah, I didn't want to do all that till I figured out how to do it,
Okay,
because we gotta do a motion and a vote. So I just said, the only thing I see on this is that I can stop recording.
So I think you take.
Yeah.
a vote
I think we should do the motion first, right? And
Yeah,
then-
we need a
Yeah, we have
motion
to do
to
the
go
motion
into
first,
executive
I
session.
just want to make sure once I do it, I'm doing what I have to do technically here. Okay, so we have a motion to go into executive session. Can,
Yes.
somebody make- Okay,
Yeah.
Chris.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, Paul?
Yeah, I'll
did you
second.
second it? Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
All right, we'll have a vote. Susan,
Yes.
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
and I'm yes also. All right, so let me do this.